Picture this. You are standing in a crowded room, minding your own business, when someone suddenly says your name out loud. Heads turn, eyes land on you, and before you can even process what is happening, you feel it. A warmth creeping up your neck, a heat blooming across your cheeks, a glow spreading all the way to the tips of your ears. You are blushing, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. You cannot will it away. You cannot hold your breath and make it stop. In fact, the harder you try, the worse it gets. Your own face has just betrayed you to an entire room of strangers, broadcasting your private inner world in glowing, unmistakable red, completely without your permission. So why does your body do this? Why would evolution design a system that publicly humiliates you at the worst possible moment? A built-in alarm that announces your deepest insecurities to everyone watching. To answer that, we have to fall down one of the strangest rabbit holes in all of human biology. Because blushing is not a glitch. It is a finely tuned, hardwired signal that may be one of the most important social tools your ancestors ever evolved. Welcome to the Vortex. Let us start with the most astonishing fact of all. Out of every living creature on this entire planet, you belong to the only species that blushes. Think about that. Dogs do not blush. Cats do not blush. Lions, dolphins, elephants, parrots, none of them blush. Even chimpanzees and bonobos, the apes who share almost 99% of your DNA, never turn red with embarrassment. This strange, uncontrollable reaction is yours and yours alone. It is, in the most literal sense, one of the only things that makes you uniquely human. The man who first became obsessed with this mystery was Charles Darwin. In 1872, he wrote an entire book about emotions, and he called blushing the most peculiar and the most human of all expressions. It fascinated him precisely because it made no sense. Every other expression he could explain through survival. Fear sharpens your senses. Disgust keeps you from rotten food. Anger scares off rivals. But blushing seemed to do nothing useful at all. It did not help you fight or flee. If anything, it made you weaker, more exposed, more vulnerable. Darwin was stumped, and for over a century, so was nearly everyone else. But to understand the puzzle, we first have to look at what is actually happening inside your face when you turn red. Blushing is powered by the same ancient system that controls your fight or flight response, the sympathetic nervous system. This is the part of you that fires automatically in moments of stress, the part you do not consciously control. When you are caught off guard, when all those eyes lock onto you, your brain hits the panic button. Adrenaline floods your bloodstream. Your heart rate jumps, and tiny signals race out to the blood vessels all across your body. Now, here is where your face becomes a traitor. In most of your body, that adrenaline rush actually narrows your blood vessels, but the blood vessels in your face are different. They are wider. They sit closer to the surface of your skin, and crucially, they respond to that stress signal in the opposite way. Instead of clamping shut, they swing wide open. This is called vasodilation. Blood rushes in. The vessels in your cheeks, your neck, and your ears flood with warm, oxygen-rich blood. And because your facial skin is so thin and so packed with these vessels, that redness becomes impossible to hide. And evolution, it turns out, did this on purpose. So we return to Darwin's question. Why? Why would nature build a feature whose entire job is to expose you? The leading answer comes from something scientists call signal theory, and it hinges on one beautiful, counterintuitive idea. The reason blushing is so powerful is precisely because you cannot fake it and cannot fake stopping it. It is, in the language of evolution, an honest signal. Think about how easy it is to lie with words. You can apologize without meaning it. You can fake a smile, force a laugh, and tell people exactly what they want to hear. Words are cheap, faces can be controlled, but a blush cannot be summoned on command. And far more importantly, it cannot be suppressed. It bypasses your conscious mind entirely. So when you blush, you are sending a message that everyone instinctively knows is genuine. You are not choosing to send it, and that is exactly what makes it trustworthy. And what is the message? Picture our ancestors 50,000 years ago, living in small, tight-knit tribes. In that world, your survival did not depend on muscles or speed. It depended on the group. Getting kicked out of your tribe was a death sentence. So nothing mattered more than your reputation and your ability to be trusted by the people around you. You needed them to know that you respected the rules and could be relied on. Now imagine you break one of those rules. You take more than your share, or you embarrass yourself in front of the very people you depend on. In that moment, what saves you is not a clever excuse. It is your blush. Your reddening face is an involuntary confession. It silently announces to everyone, I know I crossed a line. I care what you think, and I am ashamed. It is an apology that requires no words, and because it cannot be faked, everyone believes it. This is why blushing may have been one of the most valuable social tools your ancestors ever owned. It was a built-in trust badge. A person who blushed was proving that they had a working conscience, that they were tuned in to the rules of the group, and that they would punish themselves the instant they stepped out of line. And a person you can trust to police themselves is a person worth keeping around. The science backs this up in a way that feels almost too perfect. In a series of clever experiments, researchers showed people photographs of someone who had just committed a small social blunder, like knocking over a display in a shop. In some photos, the person was blushing. In others, they were not. Then they asked observers to judge them. The results were consistent and striking. The people who blushed were rated as more likable, more trustworthy, and more sympathetic, and observers were far quicker to forgive them. The blush worked exactly as evolution designed it to. It softened judgment. It rebuilt trust. And it said, this person is one of us, and they feel bad, so let it go. There is another layer to this too. Many scientists believe blushing is a form of appeasement. Across the animal kingdom, when a creature wants to avoid a fight, it makes itself look smaller and less threatening. A dog lowers its head and tucks its tail. These are signals of submission that say, I am not a threat. Let us not fight. Blushing may be the human version of exactly this. By visibly displaying your discomfort, you lower the social temperature and turn a potential conflict into a moment of shared understanding. But here's the cruel twist in the entire story, the part that anyone who blushes easily knows all too well. The very thing that makes blushing useful is also what makes it a trap. Because you know you might blush, you start to fear blushing, and that fear is itself a form of stress, which triggers the exact same fight or flight response, which floods your face with blood, which makes you blush, which makes you panic about blushing, which makes you blush even harder. It is a perfect, vicious feedback loop, an emotional snowball that builds on itself. For some people, this spirals into a genuine condition called erythrophobia, the intense fear of blushing, which can become so overwhelming that they avoid social situations entirely. This is also why you can blush at the strangest times. You blush when someone gives you a compliment, because the sudden spotlight of positive attention spikes that same self-conscious alarm. You can blush from pride, from being praised, even from simply being looked at a moment too long. You can blush completely alone in an empty room, just from remembering something embarrassing you did 10 years ago. Your body does not need an actual audience. The mere thought of being judged is enough to pull the trigger. So let us step back and rethink the whole thing. We started with a feature that seemed like pure cruelty, a system that exists only to humiliate you. But that is not what it is at all. Your blush is not a weakness or a flaw in your design. It is one of the oldest and most honest forms of communication your species has ever produced. It is a signal written in blood and skin that says you care about the people around you, that you have a conscience, and that you can be trusted. The very fact that you cannot control it is the entire point. It is the one promise your body makes that you can never break. So the next time you feel that heat rising in your cheeks in front of a room full of people, remember what is really happening. You are not failing. You are running a piece of social software that is tens of thousands of years old, one that helped your ancestors survive by keeping them connected, forgiven, and trusted. Your face is not betraying you. It is telling the truth. And in a world full of people who can fake almost anything, a face that cannot lie might just be the most human thing of all. If you enjoyed falling down this particular rabbit hole, consider subscribing, question the ordinary, and we will see you next time.